4 out of 4 in the doubles. It looked very good. It did look somewhat intense, but I think he's dialed it back from Saturday, which is important because you can't maintain that level of intensity for what could be 23 to 29 matches throughout a week. So he's going to have to play with a slightly lower heartbeat and a slightly lower blood pressure from what we saw on Saturday. He's managed to do that, and he's definitely carried things through from Saturday, and it's very encouraging.
You talk about being dialed down. So where do you think the happy medium resides in your view? As a player yourself who played with that intensity on stage.
The main thing about it is that if you have that really high level of intensity, that brings a great deal of adrenaline. When you come off that, you get tired immediately. There's a real crash. When that adrenaline's gone, it feels like your energy has been sapped. So you've just got to find little spikes of it just so that the crashes aren't as big. And I think he's mastered that throughout the course of a few years that he's played, and particularly here.
Well, let's talk elsewhere then and talk about Tom Sykes. Look, we spoke about him at the beginning of the programme. He's been a breakthrough player here at the Super Series, and particularly in Series 6 when he went on to win his week. And we're seeing already through the first couple of performances that we've seen from him, he's carrying on that trajectory and trend.
I think Tom Sykes is getting better. You think about what he did in Series 5. He made his first finals night. He won a Yorkshire belt in the ADC as well. He got onto our radar by doing these things. Then we said when he came to Series 6, okay, where's he going next? What he's starting to show us now is a new level of focus. He has his own brand of intensity, which is a bit more within himself. It's not as extrinsic. And I just get the feeling that we really do have a proper player on our hands. And if you look at the history of Yorkshire dart players, he might be the next big one.
And it says a lot about the ADC season, how it's bringing players through. And it's an interesting night tonight because the actual Vault Series programme restarts again this evening. And we're seeing through that programme, through the belt programme, we're seeing players that maybe back in the day where you had circuits, you had to travel a lot, maybe didn't come to fruition. But now they get an opportunity to play locally and then to broaden their horizons, play on televised stages. And for Tom, he's going to give the circuit a good go this year.
Yeah, this is a really interesting conversation that could go on for a while, actually. I mean, I first met Glenn Durrant in, what would be in about 1999, and he was in the final of an event in Gateshead, and it took 20 years for Glenn Durrant to become a world star. If you think about the climate of world darts, or even domestic darts in the UK at the minute, people's tracking of getting from their first tournament success locally to being on television, being on a streamed platform, it's a lot shorter now. It's almost fast-tracking everybody to where they want to be.
And if you want to be a part of those ADC Vault events and possibly fancy being on that stage, head over to dartsatlas.com where there's plenty of events throughout the course of the United Kingdom. Right, let's move on and talk about Chaz Barstow then, shall we? It's his second appearance here at Champions Week. And look, we asked a couple of questions about him going into today, but so far, do you feel he's answered them?
Yeah, I think he looked pretty good. The last time he was here in a Group A situation in a Champions Week, we started to wonder whether playing early in the day suited him. I'm almost off the fence when it comes to him playing earlier in the day. I think the brand of darts that he has in his locker is extremely exciting to watch. Every time he's been on a list for me to commentate on, I've got excited. I just love the way he does things. He's had a double-double finish already today. Expect more of that kind of behaviour. But we can see that when the game is ever so slightly off on the outer ring, he can be exposed a little bit, which is exactly what happened in round 2. However, if he can get it right, round 1 is what you get.
Well, next up for us is Andy Bolton in action up against Cam Crabtree. As far as Andy's concerned, we know exactly what we're going to get from him, a low 90s average and some terrific doubling. But for Cam, is he the player that you've got the slight worry about thus far?
At this stage, yes. But we don't panic about someone just because of 2 rounds of play. Give them the full day. Give them till maybe the end of round 2 on Tuesday to see where they stand. And their goals will become very evident at that point. At the minute, Cam will be thinking, this is not the ideal start. But if I can just kick in round 3 and walk away from today with at least 4 points, 2 wins for my next 3 games, all is not lost.
Well, let's see what happens then in this one. Is Bolton up against Crabtree. Paul Nicholson's going to make the short journey over to the commentary box to describe all the action in the company of Laura Turner.
Yeah, thank you very much, Henry. And here we have it. Can Cam Crabtree find that elusive win? As Paul Nicholson was just saying, that let's give him the date. Can't judge him just on what we've seen so far. He is a weekly winner, as are all our players here in Group A. They all won their weekly titles. And you have to go back all the way to week number 2, back in November, when Andy Bolton picked up his weekly win. Cam slightly more recently. I don't know about you. Just
First
not
leg, it's
the
Andy
ideal
to
start,
throw
obviously,
first.
for Cam Crabtree, but we
Game
know what he
on.
can do. We've seen him put in some big performances, and I think he's going to need something like that to get the better of someone like Andy Bolton, who just seems very comfortable up there on the stage.
Doesn't he just? Doing what Andy does. Averaging between 90 and 92 all the time,
60.
it seems like. But as far as this group is concerned, we've already spoken this morning, Laura, about the fact that somebody has got to be the person who
96.
finishes bottom of this table. I'm not saying that Cam is going to be that person, but he's the one who has got to dig just a little deeper at the minute to try and find a formula
100.
that is going to put somebody else in the position he's in now. He needs something positive to happen, and it's not the kind of positive
140.
thing that you would want in the middle of a long game. He needs something to be sustained for about 15 to 20 minutes, just to give him positivity for whatever's coming next.
98.
A win against Bolton will fix a lot of the ills of the day.
Yeah, and obviously for those players who
47.
don't top Group A, just look at the what they've got to look forward to in Group B and Group C. The likes of Darren Webster, Ron Moolenkamp, Reece Colley, Group B, and Gary Stone, Ryan Harrington, and John O'Shea going into Group C. And
150.
it's just another massive challenge. I mean, I just think the importance of winning Group A, and especially maybe for someone like Scott Taylor, if he can do that, he will get then a couple of days off, because he's coming in off the back of playing for a full week.
There's
Andy, you
always,
require
no fail,
128.
one player on Monday who would benefit from 2 days off on Thursday and Friday more than anybody else. Andy Bolton in recent times has been that person
103.
because he has had
Tam, you require 38.
issues with his right shoulder. I think this week Scott Taylor would be the one who would benefit the most.
Shot on the
But
first
Crabtree
leg,
does
Cam
break in the
Crabtree.
first leg with a 13-dart leg. And he knows a thing or two
Second
about
leg,
averaging
it's Cam to throw
115 in a
first.
game. He did it in his
Game on.
very first game here under this roof. What he would give for a performance like that here in this one. And he's creating himself
121.
a little bit more momentum, if you believe in that stuff.
Yeah, one of those words we try and avoid now, isn't it?
57.
Interesting stance that Cam has. A very straight right leg.
60.
Places a lot of weight beyond the right foot, which puts a great deal of emphasis on the right toes, because if they're out, his balance will be all out.
125.
I'm a big believer in what I'm about to say next, and it may seem a bit strange coming from a 15-year dart player in PDC darts, and
121.
have obviously played here as well. But all of these dart players today are right-handed. They are all putting a lot of weight on their right side.
140.
You might think it's just flinging 20 to 24 grams of metal at a dartboard for a few hours. It's nothing. But if you do it for years,
171.
chiropractors and osteopaths will tell you that if you do it for years, you're going to have to be clicked back into place at some point. So dart players moving forward, my advice is
97.
stretch
Time
out when you're
required,
finished and make
28.
sure you're nice and level. This game is not level. Well, it might be if Cam misses this. But he doesn't.
Shot on his second leg. Cam Crabtree.
Spectacular dart from Shazam. Any idea why he's called that?
I don't.
Still haven't got
Third
the bottom
leg.
of it.
It's Andy to throw first.
Something to do with a superhero? I do believe there's a superhero
There
called
is.
Shazam.
There is indeed, but no, that's something we can find out by the end of the week. It's going to be my first question when I
43.
see him next.
Well, if he wanted to be nicknamed after a superhero, I suppose it's a good job it wasn't Ant-Man.
57.
No, we've already got a Superman in Matt Clark.
We've got a spider.
We have a spider. There must be some more superhero names out there.
By the way, the next time you see Mark Webster, just remind him of his Premier League
96.
lead-up video package when he used to do the old spraying of the webs. As if we're ever going to let you forget that, Mark.
59.
Any other superheroes in darts that you can recall?
Come back to me. I'm sure there must be more.
We don't have a Thor.
No, that's a good name.
59.
It'd have to be somebody coming from one of the Scandinavian countries, surely.
We 140.
We do have the Joker. He's coming up later in the week, but we don't have a Batman. But we do have the Dart Knight, David Copley.
59.
So we've got to get that game between him and John O'Shea at some point. That would be interesting.
And if there's ever going to be another superhero made up, I love, one of my favourite nicknames of all time is Frosty the Throwman.
140.
I think that's everybody's favourite nickname. It's genius. We had a conversation, you and I, about your nickname, didn't we?
Yeah, still haven't got one.
Answers on a
100.
postcard, everyone.
Can
Here,
we
I'll
buy
I'll go in as Wonder
105?
Woman.
I think Laura Turner should be called Bombshell.
Yeah, less blonde, more grey these
97.
days, unfortunately.
And you require 144.
Cam's rocking the old strawberry blonde up there. And he could well be 3-0 up on Andy Bolton. What is happening here in the middle of the schedule? More bagels than a New York
58.
deli.
Can you require 8?
Well, basically, we predicted everything was going to be close, it's going to be tight, and it looked that way. And these guys are ripping up the
Shot on the
form book
third
because
leg,
Cam Crabtree does
Crabtree.
go into a 3-0 lead and now has the darts to win the match 4-0.
I don't even think Cam Crabtree can believe
Fourth
this.
leg, it's Cam to throw
But this
first.
is a sneaky
Game on.
100 average. 50% on the doubles as well. If Cam Crabtree was a
140.
wind-up toy, somebody's wound him up. Look on the bright side, if you're Andy Bolton,
96.
he's got a little bit of positive leg difference to play with here at +3. And I do beg your pardon, at the end of the last match, I did say that Bolton had won his first 2 games. I was thinking about Scott Taylor,
134.
so that one's on me. But he might have to settle for 1 win from 3. Crabtree has been
81.
fabulous in this game. And particularly, I was just about to say the first 2 darts of his
100.
visits. He saves it with dart 3 this time, but it is 127 to win this match in no time at all.
140. Can you require 127?
Well, he went for it.
Undermatch.
We were waiting to see if he was going to do it, and that is a statement. We've seen 101.9 from Scott Taylor in match 5, but that is nothing compared to what we've just seen. 127 on the ball to finish it, and the average is over 105. Champions Week is not disappointing. Andy Bolton again averages around 90, but this time he only gets 1 dart at a double. 4 consecutive 4-0 victories. And is that going to continue as we go into the next game, which is the middle one of the day already? It is Wayne Jones up against Chaz Barstow.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Welcome back to Champions Week, where Chaz Crabtree, well, he really did put in a blinder before the break, beating Andy Bolton by 4-0 with an average around 105.5 and a 1-2-7 to win the game. So Cam is on the board and in some style. Next up for us, Chaz Barstow up against Wayne Jones. Chaz just, well, God knows what he was sorting out down there. He takes on the Wanderer, who is wondering whether he can pick up another victory on the back of that 4-0 defeat against Andy Bolton. He is hoping to pick up his first victory of Champions Week. And we really are racing through the games today. We're already at the middle point of the session. Watching this one, Laura Turner and Paul Nicholson.
I wonder if we're going to get another 4-0 here. I've never seen anything like this. Surely we're going to get
First leg,
legs
Wayne to
won
throw first.
and somebody
Game
does
on.
lose, because I am flabbergasted to see 4-0s in a row, and equally as flabbergasted that we waited 7 games for a ton plus checkout. Had one there from
100.
Cam Crabtree on the bull with the 1-2-7 at the end there. What has that done to galvanise Crabtree, Laura?
Yeah, it kind of echoes back to last week in my mind, because Sebastian Białecki really didn't have the best of starts, and something we kind of often think he has. Lost his opening 2, found his feet in the third match, and then just pushed on
100.
throughout the rest. So it could be something that we can see from Cam Crabtree, because 105 average, 1-2-7 finish, 4 from 7 on the doubles. I mean, that's impressive by anyone's
97.
standards.
And when you're putting in those kind of numbers, especially after 2 defeats, that tells me that young Cam is very resilient. And we've got to see
100.
something akin to that from one of these people, because Chaz Barstow lost 4-0 to Tom Sykes in Game 6. That's a rather wonderful visit there from Chaz Barstow, our first 170 of the week. Unfortunately, it's not to finish the leg.
You did ask if we were going to see
99.
one. I did say
Judge
yes.
require
I mean, you've seen one.
135.
Just not quite at the end.
Oh, another bullseye. Can't finish off with the 135.
75.
But you're much
you
better at
require
fishing than I am,
102.
Laura. I'll tell you a fishing story in a second if you wish. Going to be bull for Wayne. He decided to stay on the 60. I can get behind that.
70.
But he might be behind
Judge
to
requires
Chaz
60.
if he can be a bit sharper on the doubles at this turn.
Game
He
shot on
is,
the first
because
leg.
in his previous
Chaz
match,
Barstow.
he didn't hit anything from 7 attempts. Now, you've been to charity fishing days and done
Second
that kind
leg,
of thing.
it's Chaz to throw
I myself
first.
have only ever been fishing once
Game on.
off the coast of Western Australia. First fish I ever caught, and it wasn't a 170 before you say
57.
anything. I'm reeling this thing up, and I'm standing next to James Wade, and Adrian Lewis is to my left. They're getting fish out of the water like it's nobody's business, like it's
100.
easy. I'm getting my first fish, and then the Australian guy who's got the boat says, "Oh, mate, you can't catch that. That's a scorpion fish." And he just cut the line.
57.
So the first fish I ever caught was poisonous. Welcome to Australia.
Yeah, A.D. Lewis, James Wade, very accomplished fisherman.
I've got a great photograph of Adrian with one of the fish he caught that day.
140.
It's about the size of the Oki. It's enormous.
95.
Chaz has started much better in this game. What is that feeling like for you, Laura, when you've had a bad game and the next one you play, you start with a nice, clean, crisp out like that 60?
171.
Yeah, again, it just kind of settles everything. One of the things in darts that is quite vital, and it's sometimes very difficult to do, especially in these short formats, is you've kind
When
of
you
got to
require
forget what's
90.
happened previously, especially if it's negative. You need to find a way to move forward and move forward very quickly, because the games come quick, thick and fast.
65. Chaz, you require 152.
It's a bit like making a very nice bechamel sauce, thickened very fast. You've got to keep stirring.
We're still on our campaign for Paul Nicholson for
100.
MasterChef.
Oh,
When you require
Not
25.
this again.
Voice said it. You can go on MasterChef and we get Colin Lloyd maybe on the Bake Off.
I thought you were going to say dancing on ice.
17.
Now that I would like to
Chaz,
see.
you require 52.
This will be a steal. Wayne Jones has let this one slip. He's had 3 darts at double in this leg. Can Barstow make him pay for it? Yes, he
On his
can.
second leg, Chaz
We're on
Barstow.
for another one. What's going on here? It's the domination nation here.
Third
Yeah,
leg, it's
both
Wayne
these
to throw
players are obviously
first.
coming into this match off
Game
the
on.
back of 4-0 defeats. And we just saw it from Cam Crabtree. He also suffered one of those 4-0 defeats, but just delivered his own. And that's where you can get that
60.
confidence, I think, for Wayne. If he doesn't find another leg or two, even if he doesn't win the match, it's going to get more and more difficult. And it comes back to that negative mindset that it's
100.
very hard to shake.
Absolutely. You made a great point in the previous leg about how this format exposes something that you don't get on the PDC Pro Tour and
95.
indeed at the Challenge Tour and other arenas. You have to play again, maybe multiple times after a loss. A loss can only be categorized by a
96.
feeling in the pit of your stomach. And it's not a good one. And it's very hard to get rid of that. So to be able to bounce back from that feeling is a very hard thing to do. And it's something
60.
that these players have had to get used to over the years, because nobody has ever won 30 points in a Group A
93.
situation. It has never happened. It's not going to happen this week either. Scott Taylor is undefeated. 2 games, 2 wins.
85.
I don't think he's going to get 30 points out of this group. The field is just too strong.
Oh, I would agree. And you have to it's maintaining that
60.
performance, isn't it, the whole way through, that consistency. But even so, as we saw with Cam Crabtree, these players, they do have other gears. They've got other levels.
177.
And this game has given us
Charge you require
a great deal of
152.
high approach shots. 170, 171, 177.
140.
Squeezing 140 there from Chaz.
Wayne, you
Just
require
asking the question of
24.
Wayne. Can he find double 6? Or the trapdoor? Double 3.
Game shot on the third leg. Wayne
Don't you
Jones.
open that trapdoor. Because there's something down there.
I used to love that program as a
Fourth
kid.
leg. It's Chaz to throw first. Game on.
I've been trying to find good names for double 3 over the years, because I know that our good friend Richard Ashdown, he loves double 3. For a while, I called it the basement.
140.
But then we started a conversation, myself and Chris Mason, about that program. And I thought, what a great name that would be for double 3. The trapdoor. Because nobody wants to go down there.
No,
60.
absolutely not. No, and it's one of those doubles that you kind of have to be very aggressive at. You have to, sounds obvious, you have to throw at it. But
140.
players are very tentative because you know the split down is going to be 1 double 1 afterwards, and it's just, again, nowhere where anyone wants to be, especially me.
Think about the situation that Wayne was in there.
55.
1 dart for double 3. His opponent is sitting on a double with 3 darts waiting for him to miss. That tells me that double 3 was an amazing dart.
180.
Chaz's response has been pretty useful, though. 180s haven't been as hot as they were in round 1.
60. Chaz you require 41.
Currently averaging around 2 a game since round 1.
Game
It's
shot on the
3-1
fourth
Barstow
leg.
with a 12
Chaz
darter.
Barstow.
I think there was a portion of Wayne Jones there who thought that game was over. At the minute,
Fifth
he's
leg. It's
being
Wayne to throw first.
thrust into the ground
Game on.
like a tent peg. And it's not because Chaz is just taking opportunities. He's playing beautifully, averaging over 101.
83.
Yeah, but this is the level that I think these guys are going to have to play at if they're going to get through at the Group A stage.
96.
But even when we look past Group A, I think just the importance of getting into Group B this week especially, where 3 go through. Only 2 go through from Group C, and it's a bigger group, a bigger field as well.
Yeah, I think Group C is the hardest of the week.
140.
Because you've got 3 players from Group A who go into it off the back of being in the bottom 50%. You don't see many weekly winners come from Group C.
125.
It just doesn't happen. It's all the more impressive when it does happen. We want you to get in touch today at MSS Darts, as you can see on the bottom right of your screen through our social channels.
100.
And what we want to hear from you today about is if you were to have a special week here at the MODUS Super Series, like we're going to have with Double Trouble next week,
121.
you can be as creative as you want. Darts on the moon. Darts on ice.
Yeah, or Paul Imp, darts on a train. I've seen that before.
98.
Russ Bray has been on a cruise ship from Hawaii to Fiji in the last week. Well,
Nice work.
that's a job if you can get it.
I was going to say, nice work if you
when
can get
you
it.
require 80.
I was just having a quick look at what you were mentioning before. As Wayne Jones looks for tops.
40.
And I'll come back to it, but
require 40.
the only player really to have come through Group C is Tom Sykes in this group.
What a marker. And what a
Shot
performance
and
that is.
Chaz Barstow.
Wow, we've had 101.9 from Scott Taylor. We've had 105.47 from Crabtree. That is a 4-1 victory for Chaz Barstow. 102.45. The standard today really is befitting any Champions Week we could possibly show you. Wayne Jones struggled to get into that one. He did get one dart successfully hit this time, but Chaz Barstow has bounced back perfectly from round 2 after losing to Sykes 4-0. And now we've only got one game left in round 3, and it promises much because Scott Taylor, who's undefeated, now takes on Tom Sykes, who is also undefeated.
Welcome back to the live lounge in Portsmouth and to this, the MODUS Super Series, where Champions Week gets underway. And what a scintillating start with Scene 2 proceedings as well. Chaz Barstow, before the break, has given us our third ton plus average already, and we've only played 8 games in this group so far. Next up for us, it is a War of the Roses, as Scott Taylor from Lancashire takes on Tom Sykes from Yorkshire. And the pair both had scintillating starts. Tom Sykes beat Wayne Jones 4-2 in his opener. Scott Taylor beat Andy Bolton. Taylor then beat Cam Crabtree by 4-0, whilst Tom Sykes beat Chaz Barstow by that same scoreline. So somebody's O's got to go. Let's see who is going to pick up the points in this one with Paul and Laura.
Yes, a War of the Roses game, and there have been plenty of those over the years. But I can't see Michael Douglas. I can't see Kathleen Turner or Danny DeVito. That was a particularly vicious movie, wasn't it, between Kathleen and Michael? Well, these two strawberry blonde players who represent different roses will now go toe-to-toe in a somewhat friendly manner, but 2 points are up for grabs, and top of the table is up for grabs past the halfway point of day one as well.
96.
Laura, I've got to get this off my chest at the start. Let's have what will be classified as your favourite War of the Roses game.
108.
Lancashire versus Yorkshire. Who would you want to watch from the history of the game?
Well, I mean, not even from the
81.
history of the game. I think it's just the players that both sides have had. I mean, from a women's point of view, it's obviously what I'm involved in, but Yorkshire, you've got Bo Greaves, Lorraine Winstanley, players over the years, and again, Lancashire, Lisa Ashton. I mean, could you actually imagine? The players that they've produced over the years is outstanding, and also the length of time that both teams have actually been kind of up around the top of the UKDA, at the top of the Premier League, and what used to be the county system. They were the team to beat, and it was quite hard to do so.
Oh, has there ever been a time where Yorkshire and Lancashire have not been in the Premier League?
No, not that I can recall.
Same here. They've always been atop that sort of category and bringing talents for generations. 54 for Bull. Sykes, who's just hit 2 bulls,
98.
has started today with
45.
real purpose.
Game shot on the first leg. Tom
It's a
Sykes.
wonderful leg. I'm enjoying every single game we're watching today. If I was to
Second
pick
leg, it's Tom to throw first.
an historic War of the Roses, say best of 31 game for the pride of the Roses
140.
at their peak, I'd go with Dennis Priestley.
121.
I would have to go with Alan Warren a little at his peak.
140.
I know he didn't win a world title, but he won pretty much everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, the women's match, probably Bo Greaves, Lisa Ashton. I know that's not quite
60.
as historical, but...
Oh, it is. It's only 6 world titles between them.
No, just a few, yeah.
I don't think people give Alan Warren the amount of credit he deserves. You know, he's a
100.
multiple-time world #1, World Grand Prix champion, and
90.
take it from my commentary colleague Chris Mason, who spends more time with Alan than probably anybody else, and did so in his career. People didn't realise how good he was. In an era where there was no social media,
100.
there was no internet at the start of it,
131.
he was unreal. Just like Tom Sykes is at the minute.
But do you find that as well? You get like almost like a
83.
recency bias is kind of a phrase that keeps coming up, that you only look as far back as perhaps the last tournament or the last performance. And
60.
as you say, without the
Tommy
the
requires
tech that we
48.
enjoy with internet and everything else, you don't actually get to see the best, because I would agree.
Game shot on the second leg.
Well, if we
Tom
are
Sykes.
allowed to have a little bit of recency bias, what is Tom Sykes doing to Champions Week right now? He's
Third leg, it's Scott to throw first.
skipping levels here
Game
with
on.
cheat codes. He's playing that well. That's what people thought that Luke Littler had
121.
during the World Championship. They said he's a player that's got cheat codes. And that's what Tom Sykes is doing at the minute.
He possibly has with FIFA.
180.
If we were going to have a MODUS Super Series video game this year, who would you put on the front of it? It's an incredible game, this. I'm getting shades of that game between
100.
Ross Montgomery and Dave Evans from Friday, which was insert word. Insert a word of your choosing.
96.
Both averaged over 108. And Ross only got 2 legs. What kind of range has he got in this 60 at the minute?
108.
Hold my fish. Holy
Scott, you
mackerel.
require 104.
He might even get a look at the 41.
84.
These are the
Tom,
fine
you
margins.
require
Scott Taylor's
41.
had 2 darts at a double in the match. I do beg your pardon. He's only had the 1. He needs more
Shot on
than
the
1.
Third leg, Tom Sykes.
What is this?
Fourth leg, it's Tom to throw first.
That's what it is.
Game on.
And that reaction from Scott Taylor tells you everything. All right. It's pretty good, lad.
It really is. Tom Sykes
85.
seemingly playing for the pride of Yorkshire up there, but unbelievable stuff.
Sometimes it works that way, doesn't it? You just need that extra bit of
100.
pep, that little bit of sauce on something. And at the minute, whatever Scott Taylor does, it's not enough.
108.
Somebody get Jack Garwood a Strepsil.
This is just for bragging rights, isn't it, in the back room?
6 180s in the game.
59.
If this game was guaranteed to play all 7 legs, that 180 record in one match would be annihilated.
95.
Yeah, and the way that first start landed, I thought we were going to see another one there from Tom Sykes.
141 to finish with a 12 darter and a 4-0 victory
56.
against Scott Taylor, who was
Tommy
not
require
lost today,
141.
would be extraordinary. Statements have been made in Champions Weeks before,
40.
and he hasn't got the job done yet, but my word, he has got our attention by the throat.
140.
Can he finish
Tommy require 101.
this one right now? 4 maximums, 75% on doubles, and has slipped
84.
towards the end. He had
Scott, you require
141 and
16,
6 darts to do it,
66.
and all he can do is get to 17.
Yeah, but when you're in one of those matches and you're playing to that level, sometimes the adrenaline kicks in.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Well
Scott
taken 66 there for Scott Taylor. It was a breaker throw.
3 times I've seen him do that in 2 darts in the last few days.
Fifth leg, it's Scott
If
to
there's
throw
one
first.
shot
Game on.
he has got in the locker without any fail, it's that one. I will be amazed if he has 66 left at any point this week and doesn't go that route.
137.
Can you now perish the thought of the possibility that Tom could lose this
100.
game?
It would be some comeback, but he's playing Scott Taylor, and Scott Taylor, he knows how to find a way back. He was 2-0 down against Andy Bolton in his opener, and
180.
just turning it around as we see a 7th 180 of the match going in.
Yeah, just 7.
135.
Tom was averaging 114
41.
when he was on 141 for the match in the previous leg. Since then,
59. Scott, you
Taylor
require
has really upped the ante.
143.
but Sykes may rue the fact that he didn't take 141. Oh my word, double 18.
Shot
What?
on the
A
fifth
sexy
leg,
143
Scott
that is. You show off. And I love it. That was
Sixth
extra
leg, it's
special
Tom
from
to throw
Scott
first.
Taylor. More,
Game on.
more. Give it to us. That was unbelievable.
And it just kind of goes to show how much
134.
he really doesn't ever want to leave double 16, because the go-to shot, isn't it? It would have been over at the 54,
45.
but went his own way and pulled it off.
Well, when you say more, there's a question that follows that. How do you like it?
I like it like that.
140.
I bet he does as well. Fair play to Tom, though, after that 143. The biggest finish of the
60.
day, I might add. He's come back with 227 after 6, and it's getting better.
140.
The 180s have dried up. We haven't had one for a leg.
Yeah, come on, we've been treated to 7, now we've got expectations.
This could be a 6-leg game done in less than 9
Tommy
minutes.
require 87.
Double 18. Wow.
Shot, undermatch.
Simple
Tom
as that.
Sykes.
What a game. Can we just fast forward to their game tomorrow? Because if it's anything like that, I want to watch it over and over and over. That is one of the performances of the series from Tom Sykes. And he's starting to show us he's got a new level to his game. Scott Taylor with his best average in a loss that I can remember in the last week or so. But he did not play poorly. At times, he was unbelievable. But Tom Sykes was just better on this occasion. He's the undefeated player after 3 rounds of play, and he will be at the top on 6 points. When we come back, it's the start of round 4, and if it's anything as good as what we've seen today, you don't want to go anywhere.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, and wow, what did we just witness before the break there? An absolute classic between Tom Sykes and Scott Taylor. Sykes winning by 4 legs to 2, doing so with an average of 109.82. There were 7 maximums in that match. Scott Taylor losing out of 101 average. Elsewhere in this round of fixtures, comprehensive victories for Crabtree and Chaz Barstow. So Crabtree on the board, Barstow with his 2nd win. In 3 matches, we've been watching all of the action this morning in the company of Paul Nicholson, who joins me in the studio now. First and foremost, let's reflect on the match that we saw before the break, because that was absolutely scintillating. We've been praising Tom Sykes, and it feels that every single time that we see him play, we have to heap the praise even more because he keeps going up another level.
I think we're starting to see what he can offer the world of darts. Not just the MODUS Super Series now. If you're able to do this kind of thing against someone who has won a weekly title in the last couple of days, who did not play badly at all in that game. I think he made 1 mistake, and he did remarkable things himself. There was the mistake, really. For my money, I think we are starting to see what Tom Sykes is all about. This is one of the reasons why someone has just signed him to a manufacturing deal. It's one of the reasons why he's here And his new ceiling of around about the 110 mark, if he can do this on a regular basis, we are looking at a new Yorkshire superstar, and I am very happy to have him.
Well, we were talking at the beginning of the day that we thought this might well be the most open Champions Weeks we've ever had here at the Live Lounge. Performances like that, doesn't he install himself as the favourite to win it?
Maybe I wouldn't go too early on that one. I think what we've just witnessed in the last 3 matches is maybe the best round of fixtures standard-wise that I've ever seen. And I've been here since the very first dart of this series, so that's saying something. But maybe the bookmakers are looking at their numbers at the start of the day and thinking, maybe we just didn't look at Tom Sykes enough. Now they're going to be getting a little bit petrified of his numbers if someone's backed him. So, yes, he might be seen as more of a favourite now, but still a long way to go.
If you're Scott Tay, is that just one you say, right, the other guys just played superb, just put it away. He's averaged 101 in that one, just come back for the next one. Yes,
you look at his demeanour at the end of the defeat. He was more than happy to say congratulations to his opponent because he was playing some good stuff in that match. That 1-4-3 was absolutely remarkable. We're looking at the treble 18. He's looking at the bullseye for the double 18. It's just the more difficult way of getting it. So he opened his shoulders a little bit, but at the end, he just said, right, you know what, you played amazing there, fair play. Let's move on to the next round.
Well, prior to that, Cam Crabtree put in the statement performance today. He lost his first 2, but then recovered superbly, averaged 105, hit this fantastic 1-2-7 to win the game. And look, he's put himself back in the periphery.
Yeah, that is a heightening of performance of around 20 points from the first couple of rounds to round 3. So something's clicked. And he's done it against Andy Bolton, who we see as the favourite to win this week. Cam's done a wonderful job there, just to bounce back and give himself that positivity. Laura and I were talking in the commentary box about how he needed to do something that was sustained, not just a big shot like a 1-2-7. He did that at the end of a performance. So well done to Cam. Now we can maybe see what he can do by the end of the day. But what a round of fixtures. I don't think, from my memory, that we've had 3 consecutive ton-plus averages from 3 brilliant performances like that.
And following those rounds of matches, this is how the table occupies itself. So 3 games played for every single player thus far. Tom Sykes, the only player now with a 100% record, winning 3 from 3. He's on 6 points. And down the bottom end of the table, Rain Jones cut adrift there, the only player without a win. And you get the sense this one against Cam is massive for him.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Just to get some sort of positivity going, we've already seen a little bit of negative gesticulation from Wayne. So he's got to find something that works. Put in a performance, get into that 90 to 95 range, and just ask the question of Crabtree. But based on the way he played in his previous match, even if Wayne does that, Cam might just have too much for him.
Well, the darts have been that good. Let's get it back on once more. Cam Crabtree in action up against Wayne Jones. It's our 10th game of a blockbuster morning session to kickstart Champions Week. Paul Nicholson's going to make his way over to the commentary box to describe all the action in the company of Laura Turner.
Yeah, thanks very much, Henry. And I have to agree, that has been an amazing 3 consecutive games that we have just seen there. 105, 102 and 109 average. Well, Cam Crabtree was the player that hit the 105, and long may these big hitting averages continue. But Wayne Jones, as we saw from the table, yet to pick up a win, and really in some risk now of being cut adrift from the rest of the pack if he can't find something here against Cam Crabtree. Not just in terms of points, but also in terms of performance. Just hasn't found that one big performance, Wayne Jones, to actually kickstart his campaign here in Champions Week. Paul, don't know what you think, but I was very impressed with Cam Crabtree. But now it's whether he can maintain that, can kick on from the win.
Yeah, he could bounce back from a bad start and find himself on the same points as quite a few other players.
46.
The only person he can't trouble by winning this game is Tom Sykes, who's on 6 points. I'm starting to think it's Christmas, Laura.
100.
With all of this wonderful action we're seeing so far. Sykes on 6. His leg difference has gone to a very impressive
58.
+8. Taylor goes down to +3 with 4 points, but he's not going to panic. He's been here before. But Wayne Jones and Cam have not been to a Champions Week before. And you just wonder what kind of heart rate they have right now as they go into round 4. Cam's at it again.
180.
I'm going to have to start totting up the daily 180s because there are plenty.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting dynamic as well between these two. Obviously, Wayne Jones, probably the most experienced
60.
player up there, along with Andy Bolton in this Group A. Cam Crabtree right at the beginning of his career.
9 games completed, 28 180s. That's more than 3 a
59.
game. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, well, 7 of them came in that previous game between Taylor and Sykes.
Come on, Wayne. Leave tops.
140.
25
require
years removed from making the
158?
World Masters final. He's got longevity, all right. People talk about Beaton, who's into his final season on the Pro Tour from today. There are going to be plenty of tears shed by the end of this year,
Wayne
that's for sure.
require 80.
Mervyn King might even be having his last. Just never know. Double top.
40.
Wayne spent an awful lot of time with
Can you
Steve and
require
Merv over the
24?
years. Wayne's still here. Is he winning this leg?
12.
Let's find out.
Wayne, you require 40.
Double 10. He's had some trials on the outer ring so far today.
20.
And that's
Can
what I
you
mean about
require
the
12?
somewhat sarcastic, negative gesticulation there or facial
So on the
expression.
first leg,
And Cam takes full
Crabtree.
advantage of that one.
Yeah, but it's the nature of the group, isn't it? When you get the opportunities, you're going to
Second
have to
leg,
take
it's
them.
Wayne to throw
But Wayne
first.
Jones, he's just
Game
picked up the
on.
3 legs so far out of the 3 matches played.
$45.
You know, one of the biggest compliments you can pay a dart player is that you're recognised by only your first name. If I were to say something to
96.
you, and I said the word or the name Wayne, who would you think of?
I think of Wayne Mardle.
Yeah. Isn't that a huge compliment
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
such a common name to be
140.
probably the most famous Wayne in darts? Who would be the second most famous Wayne? Weaning is the
65.
right answer. I'm going hipster on y'all.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because I want to say hello to Wayne. He's a lovely, lovely chap. Still lives over in Victoria, in Australia. And his son Brandon's a rather
100.
good player.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Seeing him playing a few competitions. Is it the DPA? Is it over there?
Yep, Dart Players Australia started this weekend. And if I was to say the name
41.
Cameron, a lot of you might say Menzies.
Yeah. Well, I know its first name, but actually the one that came into my head, because I'm so used to surnames, is Dave. Because going the other way around, I know that
100.
doesn't fit with what we were talking
Well, that's
about.
fair enough. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Thanks.
I'm not going to throw a yellow flag in the air and give you a 5-yard penalty for that one.
59.
No,
When
we've
you
got
require
a long week. I'm sure I can clock
116.
them up as we go along.
Wayne just needs a clean take here. This would help. That's
So
more
on the
like it.
second leg, Wayne Jones.
He's had some trials, but now he has a little bit of something going in the right
Third
direction.
leg, it's Cam to throw first.
Somebody get him a glass of water. He's finished
Game
that
on.
one.
See, as I look down, I can see the players down here now from the commentary box, and as you can see, not wearing my glasses. You guys at home can't see, obviously.
38.
And very much has the kind of attire of a Thibaut Tricot from with my blurry eyesight from down here.
Yeah, I see that. So if Wayne Jones was
60.
French, try mixing his accent and a French accent, that would be a nice hybrid.
That would, wouldn't it?
And also there's another hybrid that we're going to get in game number 12.
100.
Because it's going to be Taylor against Barstow, which is a hybrid of Barneveld and Bristow, isn't it?
Yeah. And what kind of what
83.
springs into your mind when you hear the words Taylor versus Barney or Bristow.
Many a match.
Yeah.
Many a match they had.
82.
Yeah, what Laura was saying about Wayne looking like Thibaut, who is actually making his debut as a PDC Tour card holder today. So bon chance to the two French guys who are playing
55.
today, Jacques Larbe and Thibaut Tricol. Hope they go well. But this shirt that Wayne's wearing is very reminiscent of the France-coloured dart shirt that Thibaut
134.
wears all the time. I think we need to start finding some extra French players, don't we?
Yeah, it's another growth area, isn't it? We've seen the growth and the development in,
147.
obviously going all the way back in Holland, which then is now in Belgium and Germany. France just feels to me a very natural place for it to start really kicking off and developing again.
45.
Well, this is a very relevant
When
thing
you
to say
require
this week because
170.
one of the first French players I ever met was called Mike Valentine. And it's Valentine's Day this week.
45. Cam, you require 102.
To retake the lead, he needs the 57 in tops.
Game shot on a
Great
third
recovery.
there. Cam Crabtree.
Oh, come on, Cam. You've just hit that shot. What's there to complain about? I love a
Fourth
dart
leg,
player that
it's
sees the
Wayne to throw
glasses
first.
empty,
Game on.
not half empty or half full. He's just taken 102 and he didn't like it.
Just that first start, but as you say, a great adjustment to
45.
find the 57, and it was a perfectly thrown tops.
On Friday, there was a very honest interview and assessment from John O'Shea, who
59.
likened his form to a bowl of Rice Krispies. I wish I was kidding. But he won Group C and wasn't pleased. Is that just something that
100.
you find with a lot of dart players, that no matter what happens, they're still not happy?
I think so, and especially for someone like John, who's obviously just lost his tour card and wants to come in
45.
here and show what he's doing. He did struggle towards the back end, especially on the Pro Tour. Tried to go back to Q School, tried to reclaim the card, but wasn't to be. And you know that loss is our benefit.
140.
A very kind of fun character is John O'Shea. One of the only people I know that still speaks about himself in the third person.
He is the king of doing that. He
57.
once had an interview at the UK Open, I think it might have been 2011, somewhere around that. And he referenced himself with his full name 7 times. It was a brilliant interview. I wish somebody would unearth it.
140.
When John O'Shea turns up, John O'Shea wins.
John O'Shea does what John O'Shea wants.
That's why we love him. He's brilliant.
45. When you require 76.
Who's going to win this leg? It should be Wayne Jones, who doesn't really blow his own trumpet a great deal.
58.
Not a big user of social media. Not someone who posters himself as a big character. He's just an old school good dart player, isn't he?
100.
But it kind
When
of goes
you
back to what you were saying
require 18.
about Warrener. It's very generational. And I think
Game shot on the fourth
that's
leg.
it. Wayne Jones levels it up at 2 apiece. Yeah, I just think that whole utilisation of social media, especially, is something you find very much more
Fifth
with
leg,
the
it's
kind of
Cam to throw
the younger
first.
players coming through.
Game on.
You can understand the benefits and the just having that social contact. It can help people get sponsors, get noticed.
81.
Do you have a favourite darts social media account that when you see that they've posted, you always stop scrolling?
I quite like reading
100.
most of them, especially when it's something different. But I guess I quite often read yourself. I read Wayne, especially when Wayne's doing one of his days where he just like answers every single question going.
121.
I was a big fan of Fallon Sherrick's during lockdown when she was doing her little dances and things like that. They were very entertaining.
Oh, we had that on TikTok, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Stephen Bunting's getting a lot of
60.
attention these days with some of his TikTok posts.
Talking about lockdown, do you recall that? I mean, you might not necessarily want to, but that photo of Ian White sat on his stairwell trying to copy Ronaldo.
95.
Ian White is one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. He's always game for a laugh. But he's got a big year ahead of him on the Pro Tour, hasn't he? Only just kept his tour privileges.
85.
Skin of his teeth.
Yeah, but that's a side of social media I do enjoy, when people can engage with their fans and their
94.
supporters and just have a bit of a laugh.
And what I will say to everybody who is a follower of the MODUS Super Series on YouTube, please go to our YouTube channel and look for the heaviest darts challenge, which happened last week.
140.
The one with
Can
Group
be
B
required
is especially
110.
entertaining. Wayne's going to get a chance to lead this match.
58. Wayne, you require 116.
He's had 7 darts at a double and hit 2. He'd love 3 hits from 8. But he can't quite nestle that underneath.
60. Cam, you require 52.
Double 16. Quite surprised, actually. I was
36.
expecting him to go for 12 tops there.
Wayne, you require 56.
He's left literally scratching his head. Now, Wayne Jones is obviously going to use the 18s route a lot.
47.
Double 9 doesn't get him out of jail this time.
Cam, you require 16.
Now, a bit of a let off there for Cam Crabtree. And goes wild, throws high into the 11.
Madhouse.
14.
He can't dig his way out of that
Wayne, you
one.
require 9.
All because of the first dart. The equivalent of finding the rough off the tee and he just can't fix it.
Game shot on
And
a
Jones
fifth
takes
leg.
full
Wayne
advantage,
Jones.
winning a scruffy affair here. Cam's output from the last game to this one, and
Sixth
I
leg.
suppose
it's Wayne
my
to throw first.
big question about Cam
Game
at the
on.
minute, because we are going to talk about where he goes from here this week, no matter what happens. Is this gap between his A game and the next level just too wide? Because at the minute,
100.
it's over 30 points difference.
Yeah, it's a huge gulf, isn't it, between the two? But I think, as you say, he's
100.
made Champions Week. It is the next step up for him. He'll learn a lot about himself. And I think if you can just keep picking yourself up, find those levels once again, it's about that reset, isn't it? And I've said it before, but you have to forget what's
85.
happened before. You can come into the game, even if it was he's coming in off the back of a 105, and you just think to yourself, just do that again. Don't think about it. It's another game straight on you, you
30.
against the board.
I think the most important thing is to figure out what did you do right in that previous performance. It had to be something. 105
98.
and a half average doesn't happen by accident. But whatever happened in that game is not being replicated here, whether it's a focus on a grip, a rhythm, a mindset.
86.
Something has to be the same. You don't just go up there and expect it to happen again. There must be something conscious about it. Look at Phil Taylor's rhythm throughout his peak years. It was
95.
astonishing. Look at when he hit the 2-9 darters against James Wade in 2010 that could have been 3. Look at his rhythm in that game.
83.
It was
Wayne, you
machine-like.
require 123.
66 left. Doesn't fancy it. He's going to lay up,
91.
which I'm all for. It's been steady, but he's taken full advantage of an under-par Crabtree.
126. Wayne, you require 32.
Double 16 for first points of the day. Trying to do it the Luke Humphreys way. Doesn't get 2 double 8s.
24.
And might not get the leg.
Cam, you require 76.
Yeah, again, big chance here for Cam, because if he can take the leg, he will be throwing first. But again, another wild dart. And just all gone a bit south in this match for Cam Crabtree.
Can't recover. That first dart is like
36.
ordering the best Knickerbocker
Wayne, you
glory on the
require
planet and
8.
somebody giving you blancmange. Double 2. He
Game
wins
shot
the
and
match.
Wayne
And all you've got to
Jones.
do when you come here on Monday is win points. There have been gulfs between the performance levels of some of the games from Cam Crabtree, and Wayne Jones may not be happy with averaging 81 in that game, but when we tell him that he has got his first 2 points of the day, that will perk him up just a little bit. So we go into game number 11. Andy Bolton looking to recover after he lost to Crabtree by 4 legs to 0. he takes on Tom Sykes, who was riding high at the top of the table.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break, Rain Jones got his first victory of Champions League, condemning Cam Crabtree to defeat once more. 4-2, the margin of victory for the man from Wolverhampton against the Gunners fan. Not often you say that these days, do you? Right, next up for us, it is Tom Sykes in action up against Andy Bolton. Tom, who harbours the only 100% record left in Champions League so far, taking on Andy Bolton, who has been consistent throughout the 3 games that he has played so far this week. He was installed as one of the favourites to go on and lift the title, and he is hoping to put in a statement performance. Tom Sykes put in the ultimate statement last time out, beating Scott Taylor 4-2 with an average of 109. Can he back it up in this one? Let's find out. Paul and Laura.
Go first. Game on.
Many thanks, Henry. Are we now looking at the next generation of Yorkshire darts?
140.
If we started with a 180 there, I was just going to say yes with capital letters. But I really do believe that we have unearthed something here. And may I pay tribute
85.
to the amateur dart circuit as well, who not only feed us players from continental Europe now, but they have started over the last year and a half to give us some of the new stars in domestic stuff. Sykes is just another one off the rank, but he's better than most.
60.
Yeah, and he's really proving it today.
80.
His proximity to that treble 20 today has been delightful. And I am the person at the start of the show today who questioned whether changing equipment
58.
with the stems and flights
Tommy
was the right thing to do.
141.
That's why I'm sitting here, and that's why he's up there. So don't listen to me, Tom.
83.
And he's exciting to watch as well, isn't he?
He's got good pace. He's very rhythmical. He's just got that bit of grit and determination as well. But you feel this is actually quite an important game, really, for Andy Bolton, because, as Henry mentioned, he has been consistent in terms of average, but hasn't had the results, just the one win from 3. And
Tom Sykes.
that is a 14-dart opening holder throw there.
I think some people are starting to wonder.
Second leg, it's
Who's
Andy
this?
to throw first. Game on.
Some of these players don't watch the Super Series every week. They don't necessarily do a great deal of homework about weekly champions. You're not going to need to do homework on Tom Sykes because everybody's going to know who he is by the end of this week by the looks of it.
96.
When someone who comes in who is, say, relatively unknown, as he was in the last series, but laid down a mark of them. But this is pretty unbelievable stuff from Tom Sykes.
I was talking when he won his week in week 10.
96.
Who's the most famous Sykes? When you talk about that name, and I referenced a fictional character from The Fugitive
60.
called Frederick Sykes.
Oh, I was going for a different fictional character.
Who are you going for?
Bill Sykes from Oliver.
Oh, you're way more linguistic and educated than I am. Yeah, but the way Tom's going, he's going to be the most famous Sykes in the world. The way he's playing.
55.
If I'm honest, when you were talking about Tom Sykes as a legion of fans, I actually thought you were going the Oliver route with the Artful Dodger and all of that kind of stuff. I sometimes have to wonder where you go with things. So I was trying to think ahead. Got it wrong.
I am not 100% on this, but I'm not convinced that Tom has a nickname yet. Might have to call him the Dartful Dodger.
60. Andy, you require
See, I like that
110.
one.
It's perfect, Tom.
And I tell you what, here in Portsmouth, he definitely considers himself at home.
92.
Bolton misses the
Tom, you
110.
require 146.
And Tom's already got some brilliant darts today, but please, sir, can we have some more?
93. Andy, you
Andy's got
require
to get a move
18.
on here. He has not won a leg since round 2. And he might not win this one. That's the peril of double 9. In the words of Scooby-Doo
10.
and the characters, that double is
Tom, you require
pesky.
53.
Double top.
Game shot on the
Just
second
wonderful
leg. Tom
and
Sykes.
clinical on the outer ring. Maybe more confident now with his game than he has ever been, and I don't blame him.
Third leg, it's Tom to throw first.
Yeah, one of those
Game
players, as you mentioned earlier, most players come through to win a week by either winning Group A or Group B. Tom actually did it the hard way and came through Group C.
100.
Yeah, great point. It just goes to show just how difficult week 10 was.
60.
On finals night, Tom beat Brian Roman 4-2. Lost to Darren Webster in the round robin stages, but then went on to beat James Wilson 4-1 in the semi-final to set up another clash with Darren Webster, and this time got the better of him 4-2.
Just to give you an indication of who Tom Sykes came through in his Group C campaign, Tom van den Hogen, James
61.
Wilson, Lee Budgeon, Connor Scott and Alex Spellman. That's a sickening Group C. Spellman was sent home to the United
98.
States. Connor Scott didn't even qualify for the finals night. And Lee Budgeon didn't either. Tom van den Hogen struggled that week, but he came through with James
100.
Wilson, who didn't even lose a game in that Group C. He was 20 points from 20. But it's Sykes who was getting all of the plaudits and the maximums.
180.
Yeah, second max of the match for Tom Sykes, but an important setup shot.
140.
At the minute,
Tom,
Andy
you
is
require
thinking,
24.
can he just miss?
Game shot on the
Didn't get the
third
message.
leg.
That's a
Tom
14-dart
Sykes.
leg. It just proves how difficult a day like
Fourth
today
leg,
is
it's
for
Andy to
even
throw
Andy
first.
Bolton
Game on.
when he has not won a leg in 7.
140.
I don't see any panic on that stage, though.
No, he'll use every bit of experience he's got, Andy Bolton.
54.
I wonder what his ambitions are for this year. I wrote a piece about
99.
who could possibly be the next first winner of a Players' Championship event in the last few days. And I was talking about Ricky
99.
Evans. I said it's about time he figured it out. What's happened over the last 12 years just hasn't seemed to have worked. So he needs to figure something out. So he's
41.
obviously got a goal this year to try and go in the right direction. As far as someone like Bolton, who narrowly missed out on getting a tour card, has had a half-decent start to the Challenge Tour.
59.
What would constitute a successful year for Andy, do you think?
I think Andy will want to be touching on those top couple of places on the Challenge Tour. I obviously haven't spoken to him about it, but I presume that goal will be to get that tour card back. But just to make the World
100.
Championships, and which is, obviously if you can finish in the top two, you do. But also when you're up there in the top, we've got the likes of Danny Jansen and Stefan Belmont who've done very well
57.
at
Andy,
the
you
Challenge
require
Tour and now find themselves
121.
already on the Pro Tour. If you can get yourself in that position, Chaz Barstow's the perfect example of all the opportunities that can open up. So I think for Andy, just climb up that table on the Challenge Tour and get yourself into a position to get those invites
81.
onto the Pro Tour and try and get yourself back up there for a tour card. He might not want a tour card, but
90.
He definitely
Andy,
wants
you
this
require
tops.
40.
Can he break this streak of legs lost?
20.
Wow.
Tom, you require
It's almost as if the double 10 was
142.
repelling his tungsten. Hang on to your hats. It's double 11. Oh,
Shot
what's
and the
that?
match, Tom Sykes.
An extraordinary finish to another brilliant performance from Tom Sykes. It's not the same level that we've seen from him in the previous round. Far from it, but my word, it's another big victory. And he's now on 8 points with no defeats. And the 142 at the end, the second biggest finish we've seen today. Tom Sykes is for real. Barstow against Taylor, that's next. That seems pretty familiar, considering one of the biggest rivalries in darts history.
Welcome back to the live lounge in Portsmouth for this Champions Week of the MODUS Super Series. And if you're enjoying a lunchtime worth of darts, well, Tom Sykes is serving out the bagels, beating Andy Bolton by 4-0 before the break. Andy Bolton now, who has lost each of the last 8 legs that he has played. Back-to-back 4-0 defeats for the X Factor. Many people's favourite to go on and win the week. Well, Scott Taylor was on the receiving end of Tom Sykes' flurry in the last game. He averaged 109, Tom Sykes, in that one. Scott Taylor 101, lost out in that one by 4-2. He takes on Chaz Barstow, who's had a fairly decent start to today. Both looking to keep themselves on track. Watching this one in the commentary box is Paul Nicholson alongside Laura Turner.
Yeah, decent start for Chaz. 4 points from a potential 6. At the end of round number 4, he'd like that to be 6 from 8. And if it is, he will be in second position behind Tom Sykes, who is out on his own at the top of the table, thanks to 2 destructive displays against Scott Taylor and recently Andy Bolton. But let's not forget that Sykes beat Barstow 4-0 in round 2. Everything that he has done today has been of a very large quality.
140.
And now we turn our attention to Taylor trying to bounce back after that glorious game that he lost with Sykes. Has he just got
44.
to continue to play at that level and hope that Barstow doesn't do what Sykes did?
Well, yeah, I think when you know you're a big scorer, like
81.
we see from Scott Taylor, I just think you get into that mindset, but just keep doing the same thing, keep hitting those trebles. The opportunities will open up and were taken. But like you say,
100.
It was no slight on Scott Taylor's performance, 101. It was just the brilliance of Tom Sykes with a 109 average, 110.
137.
One of the entertaining things about today is that all of the players like to get on with it.
180.
Just like that.
Scott, you require 100.
I think that helps, not just... It's great to watch. Obviously, it's fast, it's furious, but also it helps the rhythm of the players. Sometimes I found it very difficult to play against
40.
the slower players.
Double 10 for Chaz.
Game shot on her first leg.
That'll do.
Chaz Barstow.
But interestingly, when Scott Taylor at the end of the last leg had 143, he went for the 60 this time,
Second
and not
leg,
the
it's Scott
57,
to throw first.
which he used to
Game
get
on.
it earlier. Some of these players who are quick
60.
are also quick thinkers. I was never a quick thinker on the hockey. I was
57.
always someone who would plot my way through a game. Not slow by any means, but I wouldn't think as quickly as a Taylor, as a Barstow, as a Littler,
140.
a Klassen, someone like that. And they can just think almost like artificial intelligence,
100.
just know what you're going to do before it's even done.
Yes, when you don't hit the target you're going for, the adjustments that people can make very quickly, especially, you mentioned Klassen, but the Dutch throwers, I tend to find their pace is much faster than a lot of other players. And as you say, the way that they can kind of do that mental arithmetic, but also just know what to go
60.
for.
Scott, you require 161.
I see he does start on the 19s on this one.
87.
And even more so for Scott Taylor, because every setup shot or the routes that he takes is very much to avoid leaving 32.
Scott, you require 74.
Because he's so good at tops.
$34.
That's okay when your opponent leaves 159. You can finish that in a different format of this game. If you were playing master out, 2 treble 20s and treble 13 would finish the game.
119. Scott, you require 40.
He's got tops. Will he take it?
Game shot on a second
Silly
leg.
question, really.
Scott Taylor.
He's been that good at it in the last week and a bit. So when is
Third
Chaz
leg,
going to be
it's Chaz
pulling
to
on
throw
that England
first.
shirt, Laura?
Game on.
It's mid-April, I believe, up in Scotland.
That's the home internationals.
Yes.
140.
Always an interesting time when England play Scotland and Wales, and then Scotland play Wales as well.
108.
Wonderful darts from Scott. That's his first 180 of the game. Chaz has already got his.
137.
We were talking about Neil Menier last week, who played in Group C. 2 years ago, he made his England debut and won both of his
81.
games. I'm sure Chaz will be hoping he gets the same sort of results.
140.
It won't be easy.
No, very tough on the international circuit.
96. Chaz, you require 84.
Double 12. Made
Shot
that
on
look
a
easy.
third
That's an
leg,
11
Chaz
darter.
Barstow.
Seems like Scott Taylor is the ideal canvas today for people to do
Fourth
brilliant
leg, it's
things.
Scott to throw first.
If I were you, Scott, I'd take it as a compliment.
Game on.
Yeah, not sure what's going on in the players' practice room, but maybe Scott's
100.
done something to upset a couple of these. Looking at the performances we're seeing.
Now, one thing that has changed here at the Super Series is that the practice facilities have changed since Chaz was here.
125.
It's been moved to a different part of the building to give the players a little bit more space, and they are all very happy about that.
140.
Yeah, I got the tour last week. Looks absolutely fantastic. As you say, it was a good setup previously, but just where it's positioned, it's just much better for the players.
97.
It just goes to show that this is a tournament series by players for players. Everything
100.
is looked at with great detail, no stone unturned. When this stage was put together, it was with the view of what
96.
players like,
Scott, you
to
require
give them the best
161.
opportunity to play at their best. Yeah, that'll do.
137.
That'll do every day of the week. Great quality once again. Let's see if Scott takes this double 12 out with the next
59.
3 potential
Scott, you
shots.
require 24.
And then we'll show you the averages. Surely. Oh,
12.
had it surrounded. Now,
Chaz, you require
certain shots hurt.
124.
This one would be the equivalent of Chaz throwing glass in Scott's socks.
56.
Well, luckily, we don't have to see
Scott,
that.
you require 12.
Thankfully. Trapdoor.
6.
Can't find it, and Chaz has been
Chaz, you require
loitering here.
68.
Double 4.
66.
They are both in unwanted
require
territory,
6.
that's for sure.
Yeah, real still opportunity come and gone there for Chaz Barstow. But this is not a given. We've spoken about double 3 before, and
Game shot on the fourth leg.
what am I talking
Scott
about?
Taylor.
Of course, it's a given. It's Scott, but see that aggression, that kind of frustration coming out there from Scott Taylor. I think it's the way
Fifth
he
leg,
needs to
it's
play
Chaz
to
to
get the
throw
very
first.
best out of him.
Game on.
I'm going to take fault for the end of that leg because I mentioned the word average. As soon as we do, things start to go wrong.
26.
But the name Barstow, it's a classic darting hybrid, isn't it? If you were to put Raymer van Barneveld together and Eric Bristow, you get Barstow.
58.
Stowe. Barstow is actually a place in California as well. Made famous in the second Fast and Furious movie.
57.
But if Chaz is anything like 2 5-time world champions, then yeah, we're going to watch him for the next few years.
99.
So technically, from our point of view, it's the Barneveld
96.
and Bristow hybrid up against a Taylor. I mean, what more could you possibly want on a Monday lunchtime?
41.
Well, Chaz is finding himself in a little bit of trouble here. Has the darts and needs a couple more of those.
76.
Say at one point, average within that last leg was touching on 110 and dropped off 10 points.
94.
Someone's got to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Chances have been missed. 7 by Taylor. only the 3 by Barstow.
66.
But that's purely because his scoring has let him down a bit more in the last couple of legs. Here comes Scott. It was fascinating to hear from him last week. When he was struggling with his scoring, we asked him, so what did you change? And he said, I just threw it harder.
140.
A tremendous answer.
Scott, you require
As would
32.
double 16.
Game shot on the
3-2
fifth leg.
Taylor.
Scott Taylor.
Barstow's done really good things in this game, but he's behind.
Yeah, he's going to have to
Sixth
wonder.
leg. It's Scott to throw
Chaz
first.
Barstow had darts to go
Game on.
3-1 up. Now finds himself 3-2 behind.
I love the simplicity
140.
of that answer as well. I just threw it harder.
But you can actually visually see it. Like in that setup shot, that 177 to
99.
leave 32. You can just see the power that he actually throws behind, the force behind the throw.
Yeah, look at the violence in the right
95.
shoulder when it just hikes. When the dart leaves his hand, he is really thrusting that. Whereas the action of
99.
Barstow is fairly relaxed compared to Taylor, but I wouldn't classify Barstow's action as relaxed. It just so happens that it looks more that way because of his opponent.
It's almost like he's going to try and throw through the board.
140.
He wants to reach something on the other side.
And nobody's broken a dartboard yet. And those 19s
85.
are exactly where Scott Taylor's
Scott, you
going
require
now.
126.
Well, he could have. Even with
65.
someone not in a finish, I probably would have gone for the 19s, but then again, he thinks a bit quicker than I do.
78. Scott, you require
Where's he going to
61.
go this time? Ah, the old James Wade route. With the James Wade
41.
darts.
Chaz, you require 140.
Just like the 1-2-4 that we were talking about in the previous leg, this would hurt Scott Taylor. 140 required and not going to go for Chaz Barstow. So match winning opportunity coming up for
60.
Scott Taylor.
Scott,
To
you
get to
require
6 points
20.
and second position in the table.
Game shot.
It
And
is
match,
Taylor who
Scott
recovers
Taylor.
after losing to the table topper Tom Sykes. 4-2, you'd have to say, is a very fair result on reflection because he had 13 darts at a double compared to Chaz's 5. And he didn't get many chances at all in the last couple of legs, which Scott dominated. So that's the end of round number 4. We're going to have 3 more games before the end of the first day of Champions Week. And Tom Sykes has got a chance to get to 10 points before anybody else has a chance to get anywhere close to him.
Hello, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series where it is Champions Week and we are 4/5 of the way through our first session of it, and what a day we have been treated to so far. There's been ton plus averages left, right and centre, and before the break we saw Scott Taylor get the better of Chaz Barstow by 4 legs to 2. Well, Tom Sykes has kept up his 100% record today and he's been hitting some superb stuff. He's been hitting ton plus averages for fun. He rounded off this game against Andy Bolton with a 1-4-2 finish, only averaging 93 in that game. Such has been the standard that he has been really giving us throughout the course of the day, that everybody really has been giving us throughout the course of the day. Right, this is how the table occupies itself then, following 4 rounds worth of fixtures. Tom Sykes leads the way, having amassed 4 wins from his 4 matches. Scott Taylor, though, keeping him very close company in second position. Chaz on 4, and then Cam Crabtree, Andy Bolton, Wayne Jones, they are all on 2 points respectively. And by the end of the day, we really could see a chasm at the top of the table when you have a look at the results and the games that are to come. Well, Tom Sykes is in action in our 13th game of the day. Victory here, and he would have completed the card on the first day of what we were calling a very open Champions League, but he has been the man that's been laying down the statement so far. Right, let's enjoy this one. In the commentary box is Laura Turner alongside Paul Nicholson.
Statement has been made, that's for sure, Henry. It's just a question of whether he can mail it. If he does get the 10 points, social media will find out very quickly that he is the person to catch come moving day in Group A on Tuesday. As for Crabtree, the up was very up with the 105 average against Andy Bolton in Game 7. The down was very down. 32 points less than that in the next game. If he can find something in the middle,
leg, it's Tom to throw first.
You never know. But if he
Game
plays
on.
the way he did in his previous game, Laura, he's going to get absolutely swiped out of this game.
Yep, I agree. And I just think this is the man to beat. This is the man of the
97.
day so far. And Cam Crabtree, as you say, gave us that beautiful 105 average. Kind of thought, we kind of discussed it, and we thought it might be that turning point that he needed, but just wasn't able to
59.
kick on, and ended up losing 4-1 to Wayne Jones. And that was Wayne Jones's first win of the day. So still a little bit clustered, but
58.
this feels like already quite important for Cam Crabtree.
Doesn't get any easier for Wayne Jones. He's got Scott Taylor next, and then we finish with Barstow
92.
Bolton. These fixtures that you'll see before the end of the session will be the first
95.
fixtures of tomorrow from 9:30 a.m. We hope you can join us for that. If it's been anywhere near as good as this, it'll be worth tuning in for.
55.
It'll be fascinating to hear from Tom Sykes if he walks away with 10 points. He's a man of few words.
140.
But towards the end of week number 10, he was becoming more confident talking about his skills.
45.
But
Tommy
I love his
require
focus today.
111.
And he's showing them yet again at the start of this match.
51.
I bet he's wondering right now, what kind of level am I going to need? Is it dependent on what Crabtree does?
I think for Tom Sykes, the way
78.
he's performed throughout
Tommy
today,
requires
he
60.
just wants to be doing much of the same. I do agree. We've seen the levels that Cam has got, but
Game
well,
shot on the
I
first
don't
leg.
quite
Tom
think he was
Sykes.
going the double route, but you want to play safe, I guess. You don't want to drop into that treble 20.
Second leg, it's Cam to throw first.
Didn't even flinch either.
on.
Like it was part of the plan. I promise you it wasn't.
But for me, the body language of Cam Crabtree, we saw it creeping in the last
55.
game. It's very deflated.
It is deflated, and for me, on a technical point of view, it hasn't been very stable today.
140.
The shoulder positions have been shuffling quite a lot, and I mean left and right as he looks at the board.
83.
Look at the rigidity in the action here of Sykes. He has a little bit of a lean to his left every time, but it's repetitive.
134.
Whereas Crabtree is just struggling to maintain line every now and again.
99.
And you tend to find the players that have that kind of lurch, that lean forward, when things start going a bit wrong, that is overemphasized. They lean further and further. I mean,
137.
most famously, I guess, one of the players that can do it, I've seen Michael van Gogh, and if you watch old videos of Michael, he's much more upright. Now he's leaning much more forward.
140.
Yeah, he used to have
Tommy
a
required
stance
90.
that was very back foot dependent. He would actually press the back foot down to make sure he was stable. That's a misdarted double for an
82.
11 dart leg for Tom,
Can you require 124?
who was yet again bringing what he wanted to bring.
29.
I can't believe I'm about to say this,
Tommy
but
require 8.
this is for Sykes getting a somewhat substandard 13 dart leg.
6.
He's missed 4 darts at double
Can
in
you
this leg, and he's
require
only thrown
95?
15.
Yeah, and again, just loose darts.
25.
We'll definitely
Tommy
need to address
required
this,
2.
Cam Crabtree, as Tom Sykes looks at double one.
Got to give it a go.
No score.
First time
Can
his
you
focus has
require
been broken
70?
today, I think. This portion of the day, sometimes it does test the mental strength. And look at the
Shot on the
bullseye
second
from
leg, Cam
Crabtree.
Crabtree.
You naughty, naughty boy. But a good job anyway. He'll be wondering
Third
for a
leg,
while
it's
how he
Tom
won
to
that
throw
leg.
First. Game on.
Yeah, again, I know he realised he kind of nicked that, but
40.
I do think if he can just get a bit more positivity, I've generally found him quite a positive character, and you need that.
96.
It's a solo sport. It's just you, your darts on the stage, and your mind, I guess, and you just need to try and remain as positive as possible. I know that's quite hard when you're playing someone as well as Tom Sykes is playing.
180.
Still got to try. Well, think about it this way. From a points point of view,
140.
if Crabtree can win this game, he will restrict Sykes to 8 points and be within 4 of him before they
100.
play tomorrow. If he could beat him twice in 2 games, he'll be only 2 points behind him. And from everybody else's point of view, they will love him for that, because it would bring all of them back into the reckoning.
58.
Just starting to lose that first start a little bit more than a bit
30.
earlier in the day. And when that happens, that's more likely. That term first start merchant is starting to become a ubiquitous term in darts.
140.
And Tom is very
Tommy
much one
require
of those.
151.
He's a first start merchant, by the way, not a ubiquitous term.
Yeah, but that last visit from Crabtree,
91.
he's left him on 67. It's a
Tommy
really
requires
good opportunity.
67.
We saw him take out 70 on the ball. This time it needs double 8.
51.
He's had chances.
Tommy requires 60.
Didn't get tops this time. Does he get 10s?
50.
He's had lots of opportunities in
requires
this match
16.
already. It's only leg 3 and he's had 10 darts at double.
Game shot
And
on
he's
the third
2-1
leg,
behind.
Cam Crabtree.
I didn't see this coming. But darts is not played by robots or AI. It's
Fourth
played
leg,
by human
it's Cam to
beings.
throw first.
Well, not yet.
Game on.
We said that the Dartful Dodger would be a good nickname for Tom Sykes.
84.
Nobody yet has called themselves Dartificial Intelligence.
Very good.
I suppose if anybody's going to be called
100.
that, it would be Luke Littler.
Yeah.
He plays the game like he is AI. It would have to be a Geordie player to be called
60.
Artificial Intelligence, wouldn't it? Because it'd be AI.
Oh dear.
You could take it even further. We AI.
96.
Now we're getting this silly. Let's get back to the game.
$55.
Very languid from Shazam there when that score was planted. Only 55.
140.
Well, Tom going for the 60 with that last start. I'm all right with that. I know he's left the bogey number, but He's got a nice 2-treble lead there. If Cam was a bit further ahead, I think he would have gone for the 18s.
Yeah, and in fairness, the way that Tom Sykes has been hitting the 180s today.
42.
First 2 went in. I expect he thought it was a bit of a given, but didn't make too much of that. So Crabtree looking to set something up, and he does.
180. Tom, you require 123.
Well, Sykes has had 12 180s today and a high out of 142. Crabtree
91.
takes 64 and he's 3-1
Now
up
you require
on someone who has
64.
not lost today. Double top.
44.
That was close.
Tom, you require 32.
This is what darts is all about. You miss a double via the wire. Could have been
It's on a
3-1
full
up,
flag.
and the
Tom
next dart you
Sykes.
see, it's 2-2. This is what makes darts so brilliant.
Fifth leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on.
180 count for Crabtree today. 5.
96.
Less than half of Sykes. But that's an indication of what's gone before. What happens next
60.
is most important. That would make a really good social media segment for us, wouldn't it? Let's revive what
125.
was on Question of Sport. What happened next? I used to
very
love that. If you were going to have a quiz show at the MODUS Super
131.
Series about darts, you had 3 players on one team and 3 players on another, who would you want on your team?
140.
player.
Anybody. Let's say you're the captain of Team A and Chris Mason is the captain of the other one. Who do your 2 teammates, who are they going to be?
100. Tom, you require
quiz.
140.
Probably dozer. I've seen him on a quiz. And probably yourself, actually, because my knowledge of musical theatre seems okay and not up to scratch with your knowledge of NFL,
81.
The Simpsons, or anything else. So I reckon, yeah, a nice little quiz team there.
Well, that's got to happen.
100.
59
requires
happens and it's
69.
3-2 Sykes. Remember, he could have been 3-1 down.
Game
But he
shot on the
isn't.
Fifth leg, Tom Sykes.
You've got to win different ways. We said this earlier. He's dominated some players, but he's eking this one out
Sixth
so
leg,
far.
it's Cam to throw first.
1 from the last
Game on.
3 legs.
He just had that little patch, didn't he, Tom, in this match where missed 9 darts.
95.
Going for a double, could have been out the door already.
I meant to say 1 from the last 2 legs. He has me thinking it could have been 4-4.
85.
No, it won't be. It's going to be 4-3 Sykes, 4-2 Sykes, or 4-3 Crabtree.
96.
Where's your money, everybody? At this point in time, it's on as even. Make no mistake, Sykes wants to get this done.
100.
Oh, there's that first dart again. As soon as it goes in, the score just seems to be more
140.
threatening.
Yeah, that visit from Tom really putting more pressure on Cam Crabtree. Can't afford to
58.
lose a leg.
Yeah, Crabtree, who came through a really good finals night in week number 4,
60.
involving the likes of Danny
Cam, you
Lauby,
require
who's now on tour,
152.
Jacob Taylor, who was the Las Vegas Open champion, Marcel Wolpen of Switzerland,
55.
Adam Hunt, who is now on tour.
Tom, you require 120.
Everybody seems to have gone off in a different direction since then. And Tom Sykes is not going to go north.
75. Cam, you require 97.
Well, another chance here for Cam, but needs to find the double and doesn't.
37. Tom, you require 45.
Chance to have a Lou Reed. Because
So,
today's
on the
your
match,
perfect
Tom
day.
Sykes.
A wonderful opening day for Tom Sykes. 5 wins from 5 and arguably winning 5 different ways. He's dominated some opponents
But on that occasion, he had just about enough left in the tank to get rid of Cam Crabtree, who had one big high today, but unfortunately too many lows. And he walks away with 2 points and now 8 points behind Tom Sykes at the top. He will not be caught, but how close will everybody else be? It's going to be Taylor against Jones next. Let's see where they finish.
Hello, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where it has been a perfect start to Champions Week as far as Tom Sykes is concerned. 5 wins from 5 means that he's going to be top of the table overnight, and he joins me right now in the studio. Tom, many congratulations. As far as days go, it can't literally get any better than that in terms of points and in terms of performances. What has clicked, do you think, in your mind?
I don't know. I literally said to myself, all I have to do is go there and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And I started enjoying it. I won in that first game, and then everything's gone in, so it's been all right, yeah.
Well, in terms of the numbers that you put in today, they really have been remarkable. You've had averages in excess of a ton, almost for fun. 109, that top average in that game against Scott Taylor. And, well, you've just been playing remarkable stuff, haven't you, throughout the whole course of the day?
Yeah, I've been playing well since I left here last time. It's the final year last time. I've been playing really well. And I'm still playing well now, so we'll see what happens through the week. But it's a good start.
Do you feel like you put a statement down for the field?
Yeah, I feel like I was probably the most unknown out of everyone coming into this week, so, and I've started off as good as I can do, so yeah.
Do you like being that unknown quantity, or do you want the world to know, right, I'm Tom Sykes and this is the year where I'm really going to put the foot down?
It's a bit of both, you know. I don't mind flying under the radar and just playing well, but if I get that, then that's comes with a part of the job, innit?
In terms of the journey, you started off by winning an ADC belt, and then from that point onwards, you got your first invitation here. You said to us that you felt like you had unfinished business when you came back the second time. You went on and you won the week. It just feels like the trajectory for yourself is just moving its way upwards.
Yeah, and I'm like today, I've consistently averaged above 90, apart from obviously the last game, but there are a couple of missed doubles in there. But yeah, I've consistently averaged decent all day, and hopefully it'll carry on for the next couple of days, and I'll be still here on Saturday.
Would you say this is the biggest week of your darts life so far?
Yeah, I'd say so. And the way I've started off, it might get even better yet.
Well, many congratulations today, Tom. We will see you first thing tomorrow morning. Couple more games for us to go, though, here on day one of Championship. If they're anything like the first 13 we've seen, then we're going to be in for a bit of a treat. Right, describing our last two games of the day, Paul Nicholson and Laura Turner.
Thanks, Henry. So we have our leader going into Tuesday, and his name is Tom Sykes, so congratulations to him. What we can confirm now is that he's averaged for the day right on 97. That's very impressive. 44% on doubles for the day as well. What does that tell us, Laura, ahead of tomorrow?
He's very good. Very good today, but we've seen it. We saw it from Scott Taylor last week. It can be a bit of a case of after the Lord Mayor show going into day two. So I guess for Tom, and obviously he's very positive off the back of his interview, it's just maintaining those levels, and it's not always easy to do. At the end of the day, that's what makes darts so exciting. That humans, that anything can happen, anything is possible. But if Tom can find anywhere near the kind of levels that he found, especially during the middle portion of today, then he's going to be a tough one to beat.
Game on.
That last game for Sykes, that was his worst average of the day. And it was 88.93. There are many people who come here on a Monday, and that's their best effort. But now,
96.
Wayne Jones, who got his first 2 points against Cam Crabtree in Game 10, he needs to find another level. Because against Scott Taylor, who I'm sure, watching on and seeing Sykes get to 10 points, this is going to be one of those moments where a cricketer is given the bat and the license to just whack it. Taylor will go up a notch with the intensity now, looking to get himself to 8 points and only 2 points behind that of the Yorkshireman.
121.
His game against Sykes today will definitely go down as game of the day. Of that, there is no doubt in my mind. Unless this game or the next somehow eclipses
138.
Well, we know with the players that we've got here in Group A, there is a possibility, but no one's quite shown those kind of signs that we've seen from Tom Sykes.
140.
This is good. This is good stuff here from Wayne Jones.
167.
This is good. That is very good.
139.
But Wayne's got one responsibility. Don't give him a shot at 28. Don't go for the tops here. Oh. You throw that dart, or that
60.
kind of shot, 100 times.
Require 28.
I'd say about 60 of them find the 60. 7-7. Got to be aggressive.
14. Wayne, you require 40.
He gets a shot at tops.
Game
And
shot
finds
on the
it.
First leg, Wayne
After
Jones.
vital misses from his Bolton opponent.
It's been a bit of a difficult day, really, isn't it,
Second
for Wayne
leg,
Jones?
it's
As you
Wayne
say,
to throw
did get that
first.
win eventually
Game
over
on.
Cam Crabtree, beaten 4-2. But up to that point, hadn't won a match. But I think for Wayne, if he can pick up a win here, especially against a player like Scott Taylor,
140.
really would put a positive spin on what's happened today.
100.
I think Wayne Jones is looking for a positive spin against Scott. Because if you look at their meetings in the past, there have been 5 of them.
100.
Scott's won them all. We're going back to 2017 when they first met at Q School. Scott won that one 5 legs to 4.
100.
With the exception of one game in a Players' Championship in 2018, every single one of their games has been best of 9. This is just a little bit shorter than that.
81.
But you'd have to be a complete memory genius on the other side of the coin to forget that you've lost to a person 5 times in a row.
100.
Now, you might not remember all the particulars, but you do tend to keep it in the back of your mind because, as we say, when it keeps happening, it becomes a thing.
Come on, then tell us
60.
who's yours. Who's the one that sticks out? The person that when they come out against you in the draw, you think, oh, not again.
I can say that about a lot of people, really. I mean, the most obvious is a player like
130.
Especially at the women's series where we play where it's not seeded, so anyone can pretty much draw anyone. But I guess I have had a few wins over, but Eileen de Graaf, for me, it's someone I consistently draw. And I remember getting a text from my kids one of the times I actually won. They're like, yay, at last, you've got her. And I was like, oh, right, this is a thing then.
That was nice of them to say that. How about a bullseye?
46.
Well, that wire weighs a little bit less now. He's just clipped
70.
it. Wayne's not going to steal another leg, is he? He's going to try.
38.
And not succeed this time.
Scott, you require 25.
Take your pick. Could be 12s.
Game shot on a
Perfectly
second
done.
leg. Scott
Nice
Taylor.
little pause before that shot as well. Just trying to compose himself before that really important shot for the 25.
Third leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, myself, it's always the same few names. Barneveld, Gilding, and Lennon.
Ah, bit of a list there, though.
Bit of an eclectic one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really.
That's on the other side of it.
100.
Imagine being in Scott Taylor's shoes. Imagine being that person that thinks, you've never beaten me. And when I had that record against people like that, my mindset
60.
was, it's not going to be today either. And one of my proudest things in my head-to-head records with top players, Ross Smith, never beat me.
83.
And there was a time when I realised that I had his number, admittedly well before he was European champion. He was 5-1 up on me. First to 6, and I thought, you're still not going to beat me.
100.
And he didn't. Imagine having that mental power. And I wonder if Scott's got a little bit of that.
Yeah, that belief that no matter what
96.
your opponent does, you're going to win, no matter what.
Wayne being here this week over the age of 50 means he will not be taking part in the World Senior Championship later in the week, which will be a phenomenal tournament.
100.
Just like that visit. And Leonard Gates is going for the clean sweep this week. He will have every single senior championship in the bag if he wins
140.
on Sunday night. But he'll have to grasp it out of the hands of Robert Thornton. Double top for Taylor.
22. Wayne, you require 101.
Yeah, the World Seniors, an event where it will be the kind of swan song for Phil Taylor.
Double top for Wayne.
Shot on the
Oh,
third leg,
larceny
Wayne Jones.
at its best. Maybe he's wearing the right colours today. Albeit the wrong
Fourth
way
leg,
around.
it's Wayne to throw first. Game on.
Every leg so far in this match all been breaks. And for Wayne, it feels very important. Just needs to hold his throw here, to put him within touching distance of that finishing line.
59.
I've seen a lot of world senior stars here in this series. And throughout the last 18 months.
60.
Predominantly, what we're seeing this week are people who aspire to be a little bit further on with their careers
140.
in the next 12 months. There are people here who want to be darting superstars.
Yeah, and what they could do with the £20,000, whoever wins this, can really help propel the career. Because it's not the cheapest thing in the world to be travelling here, there and everywhere to pursue your darting dreams.
But it's still cheaper than a yacht.
Yeah, got a sailing theme going on today.
Oh, yeah.
90.
Safer as well. Wouldn't want to play darts on water. Wouldn't want to bounce out. You'd lose your dart.
97.
You mentioned Leonard Gates earlier. We'll also be seeing him at the UK Open. Managed to qualify through Victoria, I think, yesterday.
125. Scott, you require
I don't think that's very good for the field, though, because he's going to be a thorn in a lot of people's sides.
Good for us, though.
Oh, Scott!
133.
Doesn't like that last start.
Wayne, you require
One little
87.
bit, because he knows the way that Wayne has been going around this board. He's been nicking legs left, right and centre. Bullseye for him. Oh, it was
62.
close. So
Scott, you
close.
require 31.
Trusty 12s.
Game shot on a 4 flag.
There are
Scott
certain
Taylor.
players on Planet Darts at the minute that when they go for double 12, you just think, well, let's just move to the next leg then.
5th leg. It's Scott to throw
They're
first.
that good at it. Taylor's
Game on.
one of them. The other one's Price. If he's got 25, just give him it.
100.
It's like Littler on 10s.
Yeah, that's something else as well.
However, it did cost him that Berlin night the other day. Twice on double 10.
40.
Everybody thought that when he was on that, well, that's over. But it wasn't.
96.
Yeah, but what an impact he's had so far. Final of the World Championships.
And if you want to get a bit crazy, how about this? This time last year, he hadn't even won a weekly title here.
125.
Yeah, it's madness, and you just think, as I say, just the inroads he's made in such an amazingly short space of time in the PDC. Interested to see how he gets on over the next few days with
57.
the Pro Tour.
Yeah, that will have kicked off already. Might have time to give you a few results at the start of the next match. Let's focus on this
140.
one, as Wayne Jones puts himself a maximum away from another double to take a lead against Taylor, who desperately does not want to leave Monday with only 6 points. Say the word maximum and you shall receive one.
180.
That's number 3 today. Sorry, 3 in this game. He's got more than 3 today, I can promise you that.
100.
And here he is again. Jones
Scott, you
just saying,
require
I am
68.
sticking around just in case you can't take it out.
Game
Well, that
shot
was
on a
different.
5th flag. Scott
There was
Taylor.
something very Dirk van Dijvenbode about that one. It's almost as if he wanted to leave double 18 because it's the same
6th
height as
flag.
double
It's Wayne
12.
to throw first. Game on.
But again, it goes back to that fast thinking, that fast counting, and doing everything in his ability to not leave 32. Even though when he did
140.
leave it earlier, he did hit it.
That look that Scott has at the end of a leg, Matthew Edgar called
96.
it menacing on Saturday. I concur with that. I think it's borderline sadistic. It is a single sport after all. There's nobody up there to help you.
140.
You know what kind of music Wayne Jones likes? Heavy rock. That's why he walks out to
58.
Metallica. I think he likes a bit of Judas Priest and things like that.
Yeah, I did look at his walk-on song actually, being the Wanderer. I wondered if there was a bit of Elvis in there or something, but no, I saw Metallica
57.
and yeah, not my kind of music, but
That's
it's not for everyone.
Definitely his cup of tea. I wonder if he's heard that AC/DC are going to tour again.
95. Wayne, you
Wouldn't be
require
surprised if he goes to see them.
164.
Very akin to what Bradley Brooks had on Friday. Back to Blackburn.
44.
I won't be surprised if he likes a bit of Black Sabbath and a bit of Ozzy Osbourne, because he's from Wayne's neck of the wood, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, he is indeed.
60.
4 threes today.
Wayne, you require 120.
There's been one. Double top.
100.
We could still get another one. Because the first game of the day that was won by Taylor against Bolton by 4 legs to 3, at that point, I
93.
genuinely thought
Wayne, you require
today is going to be
20.
a lot of close games. It has been anything but that.
10.
99 for Taylor
Scott, you require 99.
to finish his day with 8 points. To put the added bit of seasoning on what's been an excellent entree. Double top again. Oh,
Shot
yes.
on the march.
Brilliantly
Scott
done. The
Taylor.
cherry on the top of the day. And Scott Taylor is the closest challenger to Tom Sykes with 8 points and a leg difference of +7. He fought his way through that game with a mid-90s average, and 4 out of 11 is good enough to get him those 2 extra points he craved at the expense of the Wanderer. He will finish on 2 points and be towards the bottom of the table. As for Bolton and Barstow, they've got 2 more points to fight for in the final match coming up after this.
Hello, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series where Champions Week is in full swing and day 1 is nearing its completion, and what a scintillating day's worth of arrows we have seen. So we know Tom Sykes is going to lead the way on 10 points. Scott Taylor is going to provide him with the closest opposition, 8 points in his name. 4 wins sealed with a 4-2 success against Wayne Jones. Last up for us then, Andy Bolton and Chaz Barstow. Big game this one in the middle portion of the table, and watching it down in the commentary box, Paul Nicholson and Laura Turner.
Yeah, last game, like you say, Henry, and what an entertaining Monday it has been. Highs and lows, but ultimately the high is Sykes. The low, well, Wayne Jones has finished on 2 points with a leg difference of -9. If Bolton was to lose this game heavily, he could find himself very close to that, which is very surprising considering he was the favourite for the
First
week
leg, it's
going
Andy to
into
throw
the first
first.
day.
Game on.
Barstow wins, and he could find a very healthy total of 6 points going into Tuesday. Now, Players' Championship action in the PDC has started today, and I'm not going to go into it too deeply,
97.
but there has been a shock in the first round. as the number 1 seed Dave Chisnell has been beaten by debutant on the tour, Michele Torretta of Italy, the first Italian to play in a Players' Championship, and Torretta has won by 6 legs to 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, what a statement to make, beating the number 1 seed and Dave Chisnell, but 6-1. That's a
99.
a gaping scoreline. But yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, darts at the minute is creating history in many different countries and many different venues.
97.
We're going to have history here this week with a new series winner. All of the previous champions are not here this week. They either did not qualify or did not play.
58.
No Conan Whitehead, no Raymond Smith. In fact, we haven't even seen Raymond Smith here since he won. No Littler, no McEwen.
96.
McEwen did not qualify for the Champions Week. So a new name to be engraved on the trophy. Exciting times ahead.
100.
To me, it's just a testament of how tough it is. Not only you've got the former champion of champions in Jim McEwen, and hasn't actually qualified to try and defend
100.
that title.
Andy, you require 147.
6 darts to take care of this. 1 treble would make it easier.
96.
That's exactly what he gets. And the beautiful thing about a shot like 51 is that you do have options. If you like double 18, go for a 15.
83.
If you like tops, go for the 11.
Andy, you require 51.
If you want 16s, go for the 19. So door number 3 gives you the
So
leg.
on the first leg, Andy Bolton.
Now, you open up, not a can of worms, Laura, but a thought
Second
process
leg,
of,
it's Chaz to throw first.
if you win your
Game on.
series, do you think they should get an exemption into the next Champions Week? We've never asked this question.
58.
No, I was thinking it as I was saying it, a bit like, you know, you win a title, quite often the champion does get invited back. I don't know. I mean, the format works so well in terms of getting your 12 champions,
100.
but perhaps someone should have the opportunity to come back and try and defend. But because of maybe the gap between one finals, obviously it was back in November
40.
when Jim McEwen won, anything can happen, especially in the world of darts. And you know, you need to kind of prove that you're still playing at that level.
I'm going to take that as a no.
60.
Yeah.
So it's not like Karate Kid 3 then, where Daniel LaRusso has to go all the way to the final and wait for Mike Barnes to fight him. Whereas when he won the
59.
title, 2 years earlier than that, he had to go through all of the early rounds. So maybe what we're doing here in Portsmouth is the right thing. We're making it
97.
very, very difficult to defend, which makes what Littler did even more incredible.
Yeah, no, it's very, very impressive. Luke Littler, I think that's just a word. There's not many
92.
superlatives left for Luke Littler that we haven't actually used. So, yeah, to be able to do it back to back, as we can say, it's difficult just to create the opportunity to try and do it back to back, let alone do it.
140.
There's something else as well that seems to have gone unnoticed in the last few months, because people were talking about an undefeated streak for Littler.
140.
Let's talk about it in the next leg, because
Andy,
Andy
you
might just
require
take this 104 for a
104.
2-0 lead. Single 12. For that double 16 once again.
So on
Yes,
the
very,
second
very
leg,
good.
Andy Bolton.
I felt like Freddie Williams there saying yes first. Yes, that's game shot. And the second leg.
Third leg, it's Andy to throw
Andy
first.
Bolton.
Game on.
Nobody could do it like Freddie. Anyway, end of 2023, 2 people beat Luke Littler the last time he was here in the last week he played. And in the last
95.
4 months of 2023, how many people beat Luke Littler total?
57.
3 players. Andy Bolton did it twice in this building. The person who snapped the streak was Sebastian Białecki in a semi-final
100.
on a Saturday night. And the other one, Daniel Stevenson. in a youth event in Bridlington.
57.
And take it from me, Daniel Stevenson can play.
Yeah, it's just it's outstanding, isn't it? The record that he's got. But yeah, it's quite an exclusive
81.
list of people that have just got the win over Luke Littler.
And since then, it's just been elite talents that have beaten him. Luke Humphreys, Michael Van Gerwen.
44.
And Michael Smith.
$58.
He's left to finish, and Barstow is being left well behind here.
$108.
Can't leave a finish. That's the problem from 3-4-3.
Andy, you require 100.
Which is why a lot of the greatest counters in world darts at the minute are leaving things like 3-4-1, 3-4-4, because if he can get that maximum, he's still got a chance of clicking that big number in 6.
Yeah, and I'd argue it's definitely a part of Chaz's game that perhaps it could do with some
131.
improvement. Just thinking about those layups a lot earlier.
59. Andy, you require 36.
Double 18 for 3-0.
Game shot on the
No
third
problem.
leg. Andy Bolton.
Doubling like a demon. And this is more like the Andy Bolton we expected to see
Fourth
all day
leg,
long.
it's Chaz to throw first.
He's given us the full Dwayne Johnson rock eyebrow there, with 93.94 as the average and 100% on the doubles. What we can say is that Luke Littler is playing today at the first place championship of the year, and he's got Jim
140.
Williams' first game. So, Jim Williams has got the short straw.
Oh, but I think Jim's racked up some massive averages last year. I think he peaked
58.
around about 115. And you've got a feeling that he's going to need something along those lines. I'm pretty sure he did it to Steve Beaton, because I remember tweeting, because you can do that to anyone, but not Steve Beaton. It's just not on.
Yeah, that's just cruel.
100.
That's like beating your granddad at chess in 5 moves. Having said that, these days, darts is so healthy and so exciting that averages
45.
no longer resemble a PIN number. They resemble an IP address.
$100.
You know, I've had some games mine resemble a shoe size, but
You got big feet.
yeah, I suppose so.
140. Chaz, you
I
require
love that zoom shot that we
161.
sometimes do. It reminds me of University Challenge. Bolton, University of Life.
43.
He's not out of this leg if he can find a 2 triple visit. There you go.
140. Chaz, you require 180.
However, you will be out of the leg if Chaz can find 18 in tops. He can't
98.
find it. If Andy
Andy, you
can,
require
for a perfect doubling
118.
performance, this will make dinner taste a little bit better. He gets the 60. He can't get the single.
78. Chaz, you require 20.
Well, just to keep this match alive, double 10.
Game
And it
shot
does
on the
go this
fourth
time
leg,
for Chaz Barstow.
Barstow.
But Andy Bolton now has it all within his grasp, really. Got the darts here.
Fifth leg,
I
it's
think
Andy
the only
to throw
bright side
first.
of that leg
Game on.
is that because he missed the single, he still hasn't missed any doubles. That's me looking at the glass almost full, never mind half empty.
59.
But surely it's worse to miss a single than a double.
Absolutely, there's nothing worse. I remember having 31 left in a World Championship
134.
match and hitting double 15 with the first dart. I felt like someone had just hit me with the 6 stick.
It gets to that point, doesn't it? Where you
140.
just go for one of the 4 odd ones at the bottom. Just leave something on.
I've never been needing a mulligan more in my life. And if I had that mulligan, I would have gone for a 19 or a 7.
180.
Well, Chaz could do the old Lazarus act here. But he's not first to the finish.
162.
Astonishing 9/18s from Andy. That's what you call a 9 mark in cricket.
133. Andy, you require 140.
And he doesn't go the Rob Cross route. This is turning into a proper game all of a sudden.
100.
Can Chaz take
Chaz,
us
you
to
require
another leg
54.
with a break? No.
34. Andy, you require 40.
So for a 4-1 win for Andy Bolton, needs double 10.
Game shot.
Yeah, and this
Undermatch,
time he does
Andy
find double
Bolton.
10. Nice little roar there from Andy Bolton, who just secures himself a 4-1 victory over Chaz Barstow. Averages there for Andy Bolton, 96.04, his highest of the day, and finishes on a real high. Just keeps himself within touching distance of the top spot. But that checkout percentage there, 4 out of 5 on the outer ring for Andy Bolton. 80% checkout rate, highest checkout of 104, and Chaz Barstow not far behind with an 89.14. Well, we can go over and join Henry with Paul in the studio.
Laura, thank you very much. Well, day one is done and dusted as far as Champions Week is concerned. And what a blistering day worth of action we have seen here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. These are the results from it. And really, there was 2 standout players on day one. Tom Sykes blew the opposition apart, winning all 5 of his matches, while Scott Taylor won 4 out of 5. And even in that game he lost to Tom Sykes, he averaged in excess of 101. We've been watching all of the action today in the company of the asset, Paul Nicholson, and he joins me in the studio now. Well, we gave the big build-up to this Champions Week, and boy, has it delivered so far.
We talked on Friday and on Saturday about the quality of Week 12 and how they had to follow what we've done before. I wasn't sure that today would live up to what we wanted. I thought maybe there would be some nerves, a little bit of edginess about what is possible over the course of the next few days, but I will pay full credit to all of the players, even the people who didn't have great days. They have played their part today in what has been a sensational first day of Champions Week. Great level of performance, great consistency from some. Some people tailed off, but they've got a chance to bounce back tomorrow.
I know it's very easy to say right after the event, but there was a spell in the middle of that session today, which was up there with anything I've ever seen in this venue.
Yeah, round 3, 3 consecutive 100-plus averages for winning matches, including a 100 average in a loss that you just mentioned about Scott Taylor. So that proves that the crop of players that we've got here this week are some of the best outside of the PDC system. And it was a wonderful purple patch to watch. At one point, myself and Laura were just sitting back in our chair and saying, what are these guys up to? And it also proves as well that when you've got the first couple of rounds out the way, these guys are still not at the end of the session, so they're not tiring yet, but they're finding that nice mix of readiness and energy. And at round 3, they had it.
Well, we can actually show you some of the top averages from today's session. And as a matter of fact, Crabtree won the solitary game on day 1, and he won it with an average of 105.5. Tom Sykes tops that averages Taylor with 109.82, and then Scott Taylor there with a couple of 101 averages in there. Look, we said at the start we expected a good standard, but did we expect it to be that good that quickly?
Probably not. I would have expected a lot of mid-90s, maybe the odd 100 average in there. I would probably go for 2 or 3. But I've got to pay tribute to Laura in the commentary box. I asked her a question about what kind of level we would get this week. She said around about 109.5, so she was spot on. So yes, now because of that, I think we should expect a little bit more.
And we want more as well. Right, let's talk about some of the key players then from today. And we're going to begin with Tom Sykes. He won 5 out of 5 on his opening day, and it looked like at no point, even though the average dwindled towards the end of his last game, at no point did it look like he was going to wilt at any moment.
I think his version of a bad game is starting to get a lot better, and this is the sign of a really good player. In that game, he was 3-0 up, but he was on the verge of losing a leg, but was able to win it with a big out like that. That reminded me a little bit of Scott Waite. He used to be able to do that as well, and that's one of the best compliments I can pay to a fellow Yorkshireman, because obviously Scott is from Halifax. But yeah, he's got a bad game at 88, and he's got a great game at 109. That's a range you can definitely work with here.
In some ways, though, has he almost put a target on his back that maybe wasn't there as much before?
He has now, because this morning you and I were talking about Bolton, we were possibly talking about Crabtree and Taylor. Now he's going to be the headline maker overnight. Through all of our social media platforms in the next, say, 12 to 16 hours, it's going to be Sykes, Sykes, Sykes. And he's going to be psyched up when it comes to tomorrow, that's for sure. And people are going to want to beat him.
He most certainly will. Well, the closest person in terms of him in the league table is Scott Taylor, winning 4 out of 5. And in that game, he lost, averaged in excess of 101. And he's taken that Week 12 momentum into Champions Week. And it looks like there's no signs of stopping apart from that one game against Tom.
Yeah, even that game with Wayne Jones, he wasn't playing his best stuff, but he was still able to finish on a high. Just imagine as a dart player what it's like to have a really tricky last game like that. If you lose it and you're 4 points behind Sykes overnight, you've got a lot of work to do the next couple of days to try and catch him. But it's not just the fact that he got the points. He won that game with a really good cherry on the top finish with tops. And that will make him feel great going into tomorrow. And he will have a chance to possibly catch Sykes before he even throws a dart tomorrow.
It was interesting speaking to Matthew Edgar during last week's coverage. He said the one thing that he's been really impressed with is the temperament with Scott Taylor. He's mentioned it himself in interviews in recent times, the fact that he's not getting bogged down by things. He's not letting things affect him in a way that maybe a year ago it would have done. And we're seeing a better player and a more consistent player as a result of that.
Well, how many times are we having this conversation? Luke Humphreys has done this in his career and he's gone on to become world champion and world number 1. This is what dart players have got to learn. If your temperament isn't right, you are going to lose matches that maybe you should win. And I think Taylor is starting to find inspiration from others, whether it's Littler, Humphreys, or people in this building. And now he's starting to put that into practice and he's yielding the results. So everybody pay attention.
Andy Bolton, is he a player that's going to simmer around the surface this week, and at some point we're going to really see him catch fire because the averages today were consistent for him?
Andy will be fine. I think today was just a really harsh lesson in what day 1 can bring. He'll play first game tomorrow. He wins that game. He's on to a healthy number of points going into the meaty part of moving day. I don't worry for Andy. I still think he's going to make Champions Night on Saturday. Whether it's Group A or whether it's B or C, I don't think it matters. I think he'll be there.
What about Cam Crabtree, especially towards the end? There was a couple of worrying signs.
Just too erratic today. His high was very high, his low was very low. And that gap has got to close. This range that we've started to talk about a lot more in this series, you've got to close that to about 20. It cannot be over 30, which is exactly what it was today. His range was 32 points. You can't have it that wide. Well,
the league table makes for intriguing reading because it is Tom Sykes who is top of the pile, having picked up 10 points from the opening day. Scott Taylor in second spot on 8, and as you can see, third to 6th, there's only a couple of points in it, which is going to make day 2 very intriguing indeed. Right, before I let you guys go for the day, I just want to quickly pick up on something outside of the Super Series a little bit, because it is the beginning of the Pro Tour day, and we're going to see a lot of players who would have played on that stage make their debuts on the Pro Tour. Luke Littler, of course, amongst them.
Yeah, and Owen Bates, I believe he's already lost his first round match today, so there's another tournament tomorrow, so I'm sure Owen will probably do better tomorrow. But great history today for Italy with Michele Torretta getting the first win for an Italian player. But unfortunately, he didn't come here before he went to the Pro Tour, but I'd like to see Italian players have a crack to try and get here. But yeah, very, very good luck to all the players who've played here this year and obviously last year who are going into their pro careers.
Yeah, thank you to the class of 2023 that made their way onto the Pro Tour. But our first Champions Week of 2024 has seen its first day completed. Paul, thank you very much for your company. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:30 live on Sporty Stuff TV and on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, where Sykes is sighting the top of the table. And I've got a little bit of news before we let you go today, because next week's Double Trouble is going to be exclusively live on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, and it is a week not to be missed.
It's double 18.
Going
Oh, it's a perfect 9 dart, and he's been
Darryl
threatening all day.
He is Jim McEwen!
Oh, yeah. Love that. And so does he.
The way he reaches the final. Double 12, but Kevin Painter to seal the spot in style.
Game
And that
shot
is
on the
a
first
170 checkout.
Robert Thornton.
It's double six.
Game shot on the fifth leg.
What a tiny
Lisa
shot
Ashton.
that is.
Game shot on the fifth
Masterful
leg.
from Mark Durbridge.